All right, we're live. Hello, everyone.
John Robinson, I see you in
Mm,
the comments.
mm.
John, what do you think my accent is? Because,
Australian, I thought.
right, there was also someone really mean in those comments. They said I had a woman's voice. They got me. They fucking got me. Yeah, just absolutely brutalized.
Fucking
Yeah,
owned. Yeah,
yeah. I'm
yeah.
sorry, my voice is not bassy. God damn it.
Those comments are wild.
It's
Which video
always
was that again?
that was Underdog Fantasy.
Yeah, but which
So
which which video on Underdog was that again?
it was on the Philadelphia Eagles weak side inside zone run game,
Gotcha.
and it did pretty well. So it got a
Hmm.
lot of comments, and
Hmm.
so one
Yeah,
one thing leads to the other. Process of elimination. There's going to be some arsehole who's going to say you've got a woman's voice.
yeah. Or some other guy that's like, I don't want to listen to this Australian talking football.
No, yeah, and it's always good because there's like one of two or three people who are like, "What on earth is an English person doing this?" You should be talking about football, not
Yeah, yeah,
football. Yeah,
yeah.
football.
Soccer.
Yeah, soccer. Yeah, go
Soc-
back to soccer. Yeah, that sort of
Soccer.
stuff.
Yeah.
Which like real zingy stuff. Real zingy.
Right. Of course, naturally. I mean,
Yeah.
from the studio that brought you the Vikings, the Cowgirls, the 40
Right.
Whiners,
I mean
Sea Chickens. Yeah.
those are sick burns, to be fair.
Yeah, those are epic. Those are very epic.
Epic.
Yeah.
It's been a
Epic
while,
burns.
Ty, that we did a show like this, and now we actually
Yeah.
have Seahawks news to talk about. I mean, technically we did last week too, but
Yeah, I mean, we've I don't know. There's
we
how
had a
many weeks
break.
have we, it's been like 2 weeks, right? Haven't
Yeah,
done one in two
we had a
weeks.
break.
Yeah.
Hey, 9
Had a little
people
bit
in
of a
here,
break.
like the video and comment, please.
Yeah, all 9 of you like the
Comment
video.
if you comment and it's a good comment
Mm-hmm.
of a bonus topic, we will cover the bonus topic.
Whoa. All right.
Yeah.
Whoa. And if you comment, if you're watching after this goes live and the comment section is now open and you leave a comment, maybe, just maybe, you'll get a heart from one Matty F. Brown. Ooh.
Wow. Wow, I'm just selling my heart. That's messed up.
That's right.
Okay.
I mean, it is the day after Valentine's Day. So, when all like the Valentine's candy, goes on sale, right? It's like 2-for-1 Matty F. Brown
You
hearts
have
in the
Valentine's
comment.
candy?
They do like a Valentine's candy section at like all the stores here. Yeah. Capitalism, Matthew.
Well, it's not. I understand, but it's not just chocolate. It's actual like sweeties.
Yeah, little sweeties. Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. So we're talking like gummy hearts and
Gummy hearts,
gummy
like the
lips.
the chalky candy, like all
No,
that
I
shit.
don't know. What is chalky candy?
The shit it's like chalky, like the
Oh,
little hearts.
chalky.
Chalky, yeah.
Yeah. Like you like
CHALK. Yeah.
you crush it up into a powder.
Right.
You pour it on a table. You
Yep.
split it up with your debit card, and
Debit
then
card, yeah.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
you take like a $1 bill and
right,
then yeah,
right.
and then you put it up your mouth, obviously,
It's like
because you would
sherbet.
yeah, because you would eat this, right? You would definitely not put it up any other orifices for sure. Only your mouth because it is food.
Oh, battle rap fan. Excellent question. We will be covering
Ooh,
that in the show. But thank you for the pro tip on the way to frame the topic. Excellent stuff. And thanks for the comment.
battle rap, man. Spaghetti.
Is this where I go, whoa?
Whoa. Have you ever watched 8 Mile, Maddie?
No.
You've really never watched 8 Mile?
Yeah, should
It's
I?
crazy. I feel like, yeah, you should watch 8 Mile. Just it's a for the culture, just watching
For the
them.
culture, right?
For the culture, yeah, for the culture.
What's the Yeah, I've watched Straight Out of Compton, and then I watched
Hmm.
yeah, Straight Out of Compton was pretty good.
Have you seen Boys on the Hood?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good
But
one.
8
I
Miles
like that
feels
movie a
slightly
lot.
different to
Oh yeah, no, it's very different.
yeah.
Yeah, it's very different
Yeah.
for plethora of reasons. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Let me go get a tissue. This is bad.
Huh.
Ty,
All
keep the
right,
people
all right,
engaged.
all right. Let's while Matty handles his nose situation. Yeah, sorry, we haven't been around the last couple weeks. Like Matty said, we haven't had a ton to talk about, and just kind of our schedules were a little out of whack and everything. So, but hope you guys enjoyed the Senior Bowl shows with Matty and Griff. I think we're gonna be essentially back on our normal schedule starting now. So, um, yeah, there might be some days here and there over the course of the off season where we just can't do it, or there just isn't enough for us to really talk about for us to give you guys a show. But for the most part, we're gonna try to post more consistently again. So don't worry about that. But yeah, let's read what you guys are saying. Yeah, so we'll answer Battle Rap fans question probably once we actually like kick the real show off, and then we got a lot to talk about today though. We got Canales, of course, and that'll go in hand with the question. We're gonna go over some of the award stuff. We're gonna talk Super Bowl, off season, all that good stuff. So it'll be a fun show.
A fun show. Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
We're promising a lot.
We are promising a lot. I'm setting expectations high. We've taken a couple weeks off. We need to knock this one out of the park.
Yeah, no room for complacency. Hey, subscribe
Exactly.
to Seahawks on Tape
Yes,
for
do that.
all your Seahawks draft content.
You should. Maddie, when are we going to be able to finally buy one of those lovely mugs?
It's a one-of-one piece, so
Damn. I
I
guess
mean, you can buy it. It's best offer,
right.
The bidding
Or I could
starts now.
Or I could just steal the logo, go to redbubble.com and like just make one. Right?
No.
Mm.
You can't do that.
Oh. Of course,
I made
of
that
course.
logo. I worked hard on that logo.
Right.
I actually did.
Did you actually make that logo? Good for you.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thanks, man.
Proud of you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool.
Nice. Good stuff.
Okay. Gary Probst. Jordan Brooks is not an impact player, judging by tackles for loss and forced fumbles and a total liability in coverage. He makes a bunch of tackles 3 to 6 yards past the line of scrimmage. He takes bad angles. Please change my mind.
If only Griff was here.
Yeah, I mean, Griff and I, Gary, you may not know this, but we initially started this podcast because we were so shocked at the Seahawks taking Jordan Brooks in the first round. And also we hadn't heard much about him, and the media narrative, which he's still struggling to shake off, was that he was a complete liability in coverage, that he didn't do any coverage, and that he was really bad. So then I spent, along with Griff as well, Griff watched a lot of tape. I watched, I think it was 24 of his Texas Tech games because he was a 4-year starter. And it was some of the most dominant college tape I'd seen. In 2018, 2019, he did more coveragey stuff that the Seahawks like. Anyway, fast forward to his play as a Seahawk now. He had a slight down year, which, I mean, the whole defense did. I know that the tackles for loss and forced fumbles, that's kind of a stat that's very dependent on, forced fumbles are kind of a random deal. There's obviously an art to them, but tackles for loss is very much dependent on the defensive line doing their job in front of them. Obviously, year before, I'm pretty sure he did pretty well in tackles for loss. But the play around the linebackers was so patchy that they couldn't do much. Lo and behold, like when the defensive line actually got into a rhythm and they were playing a bit more consistent up front, albeit very vanilla scheme. Obviously, unfortunately, when that had happened in the last stage of the 2022 season, Brooks was injured, but suddenly Cody Barton looked like a bit more of a player, and the people, his critics, and there's a lot more of them than there are Brooks's. They suddenly were like, "Oh, Cody Barton looks all right." So that's something to factor in, important context for me. And then in terms of being a liability in coverage, I mean that's just not true. I imagine in the way that PFF grades coverage, there are certain situations where he's matched up in a one-on-one area where he gets dinged, but it's I did a cut up of all of his college coverage reps and put that on YouTube like a degenerate. I mean, maybe I have to do that of his NFL stuff. There's a lot of stuff where I think in the PFF grading system, for instance, if it's the same thing you get with safeties. If they're playing their zone well, then they don't necessarily get the credit because the ball doesn't go that way. I don't know. I'd just say the way to change your mind, that seeing is believing. So the real way to change your mind, if you really wanted to, would be to watch the whole footage back of the whole field and see what happens. But I understand that people have lives and they're not complete degenerates, and there are certain time constraints, and yeah.
Yeah.
But so
real quick on the
changing.
PFLs.
I'm not going to be able
20
to change your mind.
Yeah, 2021. Brooks was tied 28th in the league for TFLs with 10.
Amongst
But
all defenders.
that's all defenders. So
Right.
I think amongst like linebackers, he was somewhere in the top 20 range. So
There you go. And again, Seattle's defense doesn't necessarily want you'd have to unpack like how many of those linebackers are being blitzed on a lot of plays. How many of those are true off-ball guys? That sort of stuff. But one thing I'd say, Gary, is Pete Carroll. Like, don't listen to me. Like, Pete Carroll has for a long time harped on Brooks as like a future Hall of Fame kind of player, like the way he speaks about him. So Pete Carroll's coached some pretty good linebackers. John Robinson, he's better suited for 4-3. I'm not. What do you mean by 4-3? Because the fronts where Brooks had probably his best season in Seattle 2021, the 3-4 kind of looking fronts. But it was a 4-3 personnel. The fronts for that are the exact same that Seattle ran last year in their base defense. So the real issue this year was they played a 2-4 kind of even front look, which had two heavy defensive tackles who weren't playing very well. It was also a light box a lot of the time, and they didn't keep Brooks clean in the way they're supposed to, or the other second level players. And so he was kind of scrambling around a bit. So I don't like if you're running a 4-3 or a 3-4, you will always need a guy who is off the ball, playing in an A gap, a B gap, and occasionally a C gap. So it's not really a 4-3 or 3-4 thing. He's not taking on guards in our old scheme. Yeah, John, I'd say more than scheme, it's just that they completely regressed in their interior defensive line play up front. But like the way that they were playing, like San Francisco runs a similar kind of defense, right? And you'd call them a 4-3, right? But they run like a nickel 4-2-5 look, which has this heavy 2-eye, the heavy 3 technique, the two defense tackles on the guards. Exactly how Seattle did it. Well, very similarly, but just with better interior defensive line play, which kept linebackers clean. Fred Warner is able to play like 7 yards back and just wait and wait and wait and then fit the run, and he's kept clean. And he's not taking on guards that often. So
Source for the tackles for loss stat, that's Pro Football Reference, which I find a bit more accurate than PFF when it comes to tackles and sacks. Seems like there's more consistency across the board. Back when I was writing over at Seahawk Maven, that's what I would use for those kinds of numbers.
Yeah. Pro Football Reference is used for the a lot of the All Pro voting and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah.
And Hall of Fame stuff. Yeah. Okay. But
I'm not
Brooks,
sure how there's such a disparity though between PFF and PFR. Usually, like there's like a small disparity, but nothing that's like 2 to 10. What you're
yeah.
saying?
And
But, yeah.
and what I'd also say is Seattle, if Brooks hadn't got hurt this year and don't come back from a serious knee injury, there'd be zero discussion about picking up his fifth-year option. Like, they view him as a blue chip player if he's healthy. Now, the knee injury complicates things, but and I'd also say
Yeah.
like his best tape when people are playing well around him is a blue chip player. Like, yeah, it's just linebacker, safety. They're positions where it's very hard. If you're watching the game on TV, right, it's very hard to see impact from them in certain games, certain situations, certain schemes. A lot of their impact and their value goes unseen. And so when they're not getting the forced fumbles or they're not getting tackles for loss, or say PFF where they're negatively grading them in coverage because there's a one-on-one situation, or PFF grading, I'm not too sure on, then it is frustrating. So I do empathize, but I would say that Brooks is very good. He's excellent. But like I said, I don't think I'm going to be able to convince you. I think seeing is believing. And I don't think many people are degenerate enough to go and watch a linebacker like that.
All right. You want to do the intro? I'll probably actually like edit that and put that in the actual show. But
yeah, that'd be good. Thanks, Ty.
Yeah.
Okay, but thanks for the comments, guys, as well. Right, welcome to the Seattle Overload podcast, where after a brief hiatus, Ty and I are back with
Yay.
the news roundup. We have loads of Seahawks news. We decided to record this podcast, and we actually have major Seahawks news.
Yeah, we got like actual news like what, an hour before we hit record, which is great. That worked out perfectly for us. So Dave Canales, now former quarterback coach of the Seattle Seahawks, is the new offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, replacing Byron Leftwich, and now he's going to take on the duty of carrying over that offense post Brady. So that's going to be interesting. They have a lot of really good pieces still in place over there. Just obviously need a quarterback. Who's that going to be? Kyle Trask is the only guy on the roster, I think, at the moment. But there's been some rumors about maybe Derek Carr or someone like that heading over there. So that's going to be interesting to see how Canales handles this. Yeah, what's your reaction, Matty?
Well, just carrying on from what you said there, Ty, is Geno Smith going to get poached and go to Tampa Bay? If Geno had a relationship with Canales, that is a potential thing. Personally, I don't think so. Now,
I mean, we have likened Geno to Brady in the past, so it's just it's a natural fit, right? Makes all the sense in the world.
the Buccaneers, no shot. That can't be right.
What?
It's because Brady's not off the books.
Right.
But they'd still have.
Wait, did him retiring screw them? Like, do they still have to pay for him even though he's retired?
I think they can ask for money back.
Gotcha.
But like, even with Brady off the books, they have minus $20 million cap space. So how they'd afford Geno is a different conversation as well.
Right.
I guess you can, you can find a way if you really want that to happen. But I'd also say like we'll talk about Canales, but what I'd be interested in is what his role was, and we'll probably never find out what his role was with the Seahawks in 2022, because obviously Shane Waldron comes in. Canales has been the passing game coordinator for that let Russ cook period. And this is a theme which reoccurs, but you don't know how much credit to give him for that, because obviously Brian Schottenheimer is the offensive coordinator. He receives a lot of the plaudits, but I really did love the design in that passing game. It was obviously catered to Russell Wilson, and Russell Wilson's honed, precise, don't want to say limited, but the limitations of Russell and his specific strengths meant that you didn't see perhaps like a full addition of the passing offense. But anyway, then obviously after Schottenheimer leaves and was fired, well, philosophical differences. Shane Waldron comes in, Andy Dickerson comes in, Canales moves back to being a quarterbacks coach, and that's what he's done since. But with Geno Smith, the guy who I saw in 2022 in Munich, also in preseason, the footage that we got out of training camp, in pictures, the guy working with Geno on the field in practices was assistant quarterbacks coach Kerry Joseph. It seemed like they had a closer relationship on the field, at least, working hands-on with Geno Smith, Kerry Joseph. And I imagine he's the guy who will be appointed as the assistant, from assistant quarterback coach to the quarterback coach title now that Canales has left. Now, I'm not saying that Canales didn't have a big impact on Geno Smith's comeback player of the year season, and we'll get to the big award win, but I kind of get the sense that Canales may have been a bit more behind the scenes, maybe a bit more overseeing of things, more scheming of stuff, kind of just having a title. And he was on the staff since 2010. You think about the Russ years after T-Jack, the Russ years. Bevel got a lot of credit for that. Darrell Bevel, Tom Cable got some credit. Then there's like a weird in between where, and then Schottenheimer gets credit. Then Waldron's brought in, and for Canales, it's probably after Geno's success, it's kind of now or never. Like, do you want to be an offensive coordinator? Because to me, it feels like he, is a roadblock. Surely, like he's been on the staff this long. He's been his titles. He's been coached wide receivers. He can coach the quarterbacks. It is noteworthy that he's only coached the quarterbacks for 4 years. He coached the wide receivers for like the first 8 years. So
Yeah.
he's obviously got a quarterback background. But the fact it didn't happen, it shows it was probably time for him to move on if he wanted to make progress. And I also find it interesting that in 2021 January, so during that transition from Brian Schottenheimer, he was offered the Vanderbilt offensive coordinator job, but he turned it down. But in that tweet from Ian Rappaport, who reported that at the time, he said that Canales was expected to get some NFL offensive coordinator looks. So potentially Canales was putting out feelers, trying to get some interest in the NFL. That's just me reading in between the lines. I don't know that. But, if you feel roadblocked, and he's got ambitions of being a coordinator, it makes sense. It would also make sense, and again, I'm sort of theorizing, hypothesizing. It would also make perfect sense if this past year, Joseph worked with Geno a bit more. Canales kind of was involved in scheming and up in the booth a bit more, kind of preparing more and more for being an OC. I don't necessarily know, but good for him to get this opportunity at the Buccaneers. As much as that looks like a poison chalice, but I got all these guys from the Buccaneers, all these guys. I've got a few people in my direct messages asking, "Oh, what kind of coach is Canales?" Well, because he's coached under so many different OCs, obviously in Pete Carroll's pass as much as you can, get away with, run to win, but we want to pass the ball a fair bit, especially when Geno Smith has shown ability to handle it, and we can pass. And we also want to protect the quarterback, but he's worked in that Pete Carroll overarching balance offense. But he's also been under Bevel. He's been under Shotty. Like, we don't know that much about him as an actual coach, like what his philosophy is, his scheme. It's pretty difficult for them.
Yeah, what is his philosophy going to look like? What is his install going to look like? We don't know any of this. So, yeah, I have no clue what type of coordinator he's going to be. And it also, I think it's obviously a lot of it is going to be dependent upon who lines up under center for the Bucs in 2023. So, because I mean, they made the playoffs, so they don't have necessarily a high draft pick to get someone. So it's probably going to have to be free agency. But then you mentioned their cap situation. I don't know really how they get out of that. I know that Derek Carr was linked to them at one point. I don't know how serious that is. Maybe Jimmy Garoppolo, someone like that, becomes an option for them. But yeah,
Wow.
that's going to be really dependent on that. So we'll. I mean, they have a really nice receiving core still. So I assume that they're going to try to build around that as long as those guys stay, as long as Evans and Godwin are still around.
Yeah, that's such a weird situation, right? Because it's like, are
Yeah,
they in a rebuild? Like, because they've got no assets or not
yeah.
much finance, but or yeah.
Like, do they actually want to see if Kyle Trask is something? They've had him for the last couple of years. They spent like a second round pick on him, right? Back in 2020, 2021.
Yeah,
Um,
21, I think.
yeah. And so, I mean, maybe they actually want to see, if there's something there. Because I mean, if they end up going quarterback in round one and they don't trade up for that quarterback, I mean, even if they do trade up for that quarterback, it's probably going to have to be someone like Anthony Richardson, who might need time to develop and
Double
probably
Florida.
probably isn't a day one starter. But yeah, that's going to be interesting. Drew Lock might be an option for them. Ask Battle Rap fan, maybe. But I mean, still, that's like the rest of the roster is still, I feel like, built to win now. And is Drew Lock a quarterback for a win now team? I don't know. So I'll have to see.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
weird situation there.
and the wild thing as well is Canales, because it feels like, he's been around 13 seasons in Seattle, but he is still only 41 years old, so relatively
Mhm.
young. He's gained a lot of experience working in a stable environment. This is his time. So
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
luck to
So
him.
yeah, good luck to him. It's going to be really interesting to see what he ends up doing over there. And congrats, I guess, early congrats to Kerry Joseph, if that's actually the direction the Seahawks go. But that's pretty cool for him to get that opportunity. No chance, you think, for Tater to take his old role back?
No, I think Tate is strictly in a kind of advisory,
Right.
overseeing
Yeah.
kind of role.
Mm.
One guy I know who there's been some sort of clamor for
Mhm.
is Pep Hamilton, who
Yeah.
is obviously was with the Houston Texans, their offensive coordinator in 2022. He hasn't been hired in this latest round of stuff.
Mhm.
He has been a quarterbacks coach with the Chargers in 2020, the Texans in 2021, uh, the
Seahawks
Browns in
interviewed him during
2016.
the Waldron uh search, during the last OC search. Didn't they also interview him before they hired Shoddy? Can't remember.
Yeah, because wasn't there pushback from a certain section saying that he would be run heavy? Wasn't that the? No, that was
Yeah.
Anthony Lynn. That was Anthony Lynn.
Yeah. That was Anthony
Yeah,
Lynn. But yeah, I remember them looking at Pep either 2018 or 2021.
that might have been 18 then.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he did some good things at Michigan and was in demand. And then it was super weird because he was out of work for a few years before going to the XFL and being head coach of the DC Defenders.
Mhm.
Anyway.
By the way, XFL starts this weekend. You excited, Matthew? Excited to watch some Seattle Sea Dragons football?
That's messing me up because like why Seattle Dragons was really good. Like that's fine.
Yeah,
Really good to find. But Sea
sure.
Dragons? What are
Yeah,
we
see,
doing?
I don't.
Why have
Yeah,
they done
no, it
that?
was so unnecessary.
It looks awful as
They
well.
also made the logo worse.
Yeah. They've just rebranded in an awful way. Like it just
Yeah.
looks rubbish.
Josh Gordon's on the team though. Excited for him.
Yeah.
We'll see Josh Gordon playing football.
The dig roots are back.
Yeah, that's
Dig
right.
roots are back in Seattle.
That's right, baby.
But yeah, just rounding this thing off, back to where we were. I think Kerry Joseph, I think no, I wouldn't downplay his influence this past year. It
Right.
seemed like
Yeah.
he's very involved. And I also shook his hand in a Munich bar. So
Oh, so you're
that is
biased.
yeah.
Yeah.
Journalistic integrity out the window. It's all
Mm.
because of a handshake. So there you go.
You wouldn't be the only Seahawks reporter to swoon off of a handshake.
Okay, moving on. So
All right, awards. You want to talk that?
awards. So
Yeah.
awards night happened. Some terrible things took place. Kirk Cousins,
Oh,
certain Hall
I
of
heard
Fame
it.
linebacker.
I didn't watch. I'll be very clear. I did not watch a
Oh,
single
I was glued
second.
to the screen.
I'm sure you were. Yeah. But I heard about the Kirk Cousins debacle. That sounded awful. Truly.
Yeah. Like he's not bad enough to do that, but he's not good enough to do that. Like
Yeah.
it's again classic Kirk.
Classic Kirk.
Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
But from a Seahawks perspective, what was noteworthy was Geno Smith won Comeback Player of the Year.
That's right.
Which that wasn't a surprise.
But Matty, what did he come back from?
He came back from the NFL not giving him the opportunities that he should have been afforded.
That's right.
And bad coaching in New York. And yeah, it was pretty cool. And if he hadn't won that, I'd have been a bit peeved.
Yeah. Especially considering like I don't know. Like Saquon obviously had a really good year coming off of an injury, all that cool. You know, Christian McCaffrey obviously had a really nice year, especially after he went to San Francisco. But Geno, like for most of the season, was a top 5 quarterback. And you know, again, the whole like, what did he come back from? He came back from literally being on the cusp of NFL irrelevancy. Like, and not of his fault, by the way. But what he was able to do this past year is unheard of. And yeah, he absolutely was deserving of this award. And it's you know, if you read the description of the award, it's I don't have the actual phrasing in front of me, but I'm gonna paraphrase here, but it's something along the lines of you know, for the player that overcomes the most adversity, essentially. And I think Geno Smith has overcome a lot of adversity over the course of his career, and to do what he was able to do this year is pretty spectacular. So, yeah, well deserved honor for Geno. It's kind of surprised he wasn't there to accept his award. I saw it was like Joel McHale accepted it for him.
Yeah,
Like that.
but I mean, he's a winner. He doesn't want to.
Yeah, I mean
It's not the best award.
he's too busy grinding in the lab anyway. So
Exactly.
right.
So Geno did actually get a vote for a different award, Ty.
Yes.
This was a new system where essentially voters could they could vote 5 times. One first place, second place, third place, fourth place, fifth place.
Mhm.
and Geno received one fifth-place MVP vote,
That's
along
right,
with
baby.
Justin Herbert,
Mhm.
Tyreek Hill,
Mhm.
Justin Fields,
Yep.
AJ Brown, Derrick Henry, Tua Tagovailoa, and Danny Kellington, who was
Yep.
the Buffalo Bills medic who got out on the field for DeMar Hamlin.
That's really cool. I'm surprised though that they actually like the NFL or the Associated Press was like, yeah, we can do that. I don't know. I feel like that's something that even given the circumstances they would be weird about, but that's cool. Um, Gino getting an MVP vote before Russell Wilson. That's pretty funny.
Yeah,
uh, yeah. MV Gino, baby. We made it happen. He got a single MVP vote, and that's all that matters to me. That's a success in my eyes.
yeah.
How did
So
Justin Fields get an MVP vote?
I don't know because he
That's
was
wild.
he was dynamic on an awful team, I guess. But yeah, that is
I
a bit wild.
guess. Yeah.
So the new voting system actually harmed it kind of did, but you don't know because if there wasn't multiple options, he may not have won. But
Mhm.
Kenneth Walker the third was in line for Offensive Rookie of the Year. He actually got the most first place votes, but he
Mhm.
was beat out by Garrett Wilson,
Mhm.
who, in terms of like the ranking, got a higher amount of higher votes. So
Yeah, he got more second place votes than Ken did. Ken had more third place votes. Um, we talked about this award a few shows ago, and it was kind of a toss up depending on just how you felt about the situations with Wilson and Walker. And honestly, Chris Olave should have been involved in this discussion
yeah,
instead of
that's who I think should have won. Like
yeah,
Purdy got more votes than Olave. Like what?
yeah, that's wild to me. Um, Wilson had a really nice year, and I mean, considering the quarterback situation in New York, it's pretty impressive what he was able to do, especially in the latter half of the season. Um, but it's just it's a little weird to me, right? Because like Walker, especially these awards are so, or for the most part, these awards are so like wrapped up in fantasy and stats and all this stuff. And I mean, Walker like took all these fantasy awards, and he ran for over 1,000 yards and all this stuff. He got all the sexy numbers um, that voters typically tend to care about. And obviously Wilson did too to an extent, but it's just I don't know. I was surprised that he didn't end up winning this award, but uh, I don't really have any beef with Garrett Wilson winning it. To be honest with you, he had a really good year. I can wrap my head around it.
Yeah, and like if you watch the tape, Walker had a lull period where he was trying to
Yeah, he
do
did.
too much, not reading stuff right. It
Yep.
just like you said, I thought it would kind of be a fantasy style deal there, but I guess encouraging it wasn't. I don't know, but
Yeah.
the other thing which came out was the coach of the year voting breakdown.
God.
Pete Carroll finished ninth in that. He had one first place vote, zero first place votes, one second place vote,
Mhm.
and three third place votes, which is
Yeah.
that's tough. So guys ahead of him: Andy Reid,
Mhm.
Dan Campbell, Kevin O'Connell, Nick Sirianni, Sean McDermott, Doug Peterson, Kyle Shanahan, Ryan Dable. Now, I guess
Yeah.
there was a lot of coaches who did well this year, and Dable,
Yeah.
who did win the award, is a worthy winner, especially because the Giants they look like they were tanking on the season. The way they released like James Bradbury for cap savings, the way
Mhm.
that they went on to it's a regular season award, all of these, but they won their first playoff game against the Vikings, which
Mhm.
that should matter. But
Yeah.
it still feels very tough on Pete Carroll. He's obviously never won that award. Maybe next year.
Yeah, I didn't think that he was deserving, especially with the way that, the defense, his calling card, played. And, the little bit of a collapse that they had towards the end of the season where they barely were able to get into the postseason. Um, but given everything that went into this year, and we've already gone over this, so I won't, belabor the point too much, but I just feel like there weren't 8 better coaches in the NFL this year than Pete Carroll, but
Right.
so it goes.
The final thing from this night was Adam Schefter. So Hall of Fame guys got announced for 2023 of guys who'd made it in.
Yep.
Adam Schefter then tweeted out a list of the people eligible for the 2024 class
Uh-huh.
for the first time, which included names like Julius Peppers, Antonio Gates, which, yeah, fine.
Mhm.
And then Eric
Is
Berry.
Antonio Gates only eligible now?
Yeah,
When
he
did
played a while.
That's crazy. Anyway.
Eric Berry, Brandon Marshall, Haloti Nata, Jamal Charles, Doug Baldwin, Jordy Nelson, Connor
Ah.
Barwin, Sebastian Janikowski, Carl Williams, and Andrew Luck, which, I mean, I don't know how Schefter came up with those names. You could probably guess.
Mhm.
Some of those also, like, Luck is a big name, even though I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. But,
Yeah.
yeah, some of those names do not belong. And as much as I love Doug Baldwin, and he is a Ring of Honor Seahawk if you ever knew one,
Mhm.
for him to make the Hall of Fame is tough. But then the Hall of Fame is getting wider and wider and wider, and
Yeah.
they seem to be letting in all kinds of people. But yeah,
I heard, not just Doug Baldwin, but a few other Seahawks legends on there, like Sebastian Janikowski and Brandon Marshall, naturally.
true.
So, yeah. Um, I love Doug. I love Doug so much, and I would be thrilled for him if he was able to get into the Hall. Do I think he deserves it though? Not particularly. Think he should be Ring of Honor. All that. But yeah, Hall of Fame is a bit much
Well, I
for
can't believe. I mean,
Doug.
2023 was a loaded class, and like
Yeah.
the Dwight Freeney didn't get in,
Oh yeah.
and Patrick
Another
Willis
Seahawks
didn't.
legend.
Yeah, I know. And
Mhm,
Patrick Willis, who unfortunately didn't play for the Seahawks, but was very good against the Seahawks. Okay,
mhm.
his career wasn't the longest, but he wasn't. He wasn't in
Oh, dude, he
2023.
was sick. Yeah, he was sick. He should
Yeah,
absolutely be in. Yeah,
but anyway.
yeah. Patrick Willis is nasty. Him and Navarro Bowman. My God, these teams were disgusting.
So
Mm,
it is now the NFL offseason, which is why we just talked about that sort of stuff.
yeah.
Timeline wise,
Mm-hmm.
it is nearly the combine.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, well, this is going to be complicated because live versus recording. Shall I give it a shot?
Yeah, let's do it.
This is going to be so difficult for me. I should have
Do
practiced.
it. No,
Okay,
no. I
it's
believe in you.
13. It's 13 days until the combine. If you're listening,
Mm-hmm.
if you're watching live, I've messed it up already.
Mm,
But it's only 12 days until the combine if you are listening.
mm-hmm. Yep. You got it.
Yep, nailing it.
Yep.
It's 27 days until free agency if you're watching.
Right.
26 if you're listening.
Mm-hmm. But
It's
what if they're listening like 3 days from now?
well, shame on you because
Right. You should have listened on the day of this drop. This is on you ultimately.
you can do the math or
Yeah.
maths. You can work this
Maths.
out.
Maths. Yeah.
It's
Pick
70
maths.
days until the 2023 NFL draft if you're watching, or 69, very nice, if you are
Oh,
listening.
nice. Big fan of that number.
The point being that Seattle
Mhm.
is in the off season and the
Yeah.
Super Bowl happened
Mhm.
and the off season's warmed up and stuff will happen eventually. They kind of need to get. I mean, the combine is where everyone talks to the agents and they all do their
Right.
things, isn't it?
Hey, remember when Pete Carroll met with Matt Corral and Monty Kiffin?
Oh yeah, that was big. And remember when Pete Carroll told us at the combine that Russell Wilson wouldn't be traded?
Yep. Yep. I remember that. Yep.
Meanwhile, didn't it turn out
John Schneider literally made the deal that night, day
yeah.
one, or night one of the combine at a bar. Yeah.
Yeah. So Geno stuff in terms of his contract and that should probably start heating up fairly soon. And if it doesn't, then I'd be start to get concerned.
Ruh-roh. Yeah, but I mean, like, look, I talked about this on Colby and I's Patreon show, patreon.com/control the zone, by the way, for anyone that wants to check that out. But we were talking about this like discourse that's going on right now, the concern trolling that's going on with the Geno situation. Like, the dude's still at the Seahawks practice facility as of yesterday, like working out. He's a Seahawk.
He was?
Yeah. Yeah, you didn't see that
Wow.
on an Instagram? Yeah. He was at the VMAC. He was working out at the VMAC. He's a Seahawk. Like, you hear the way that he's talking over at the Pro Bowl, like, yeah, we're gonna get something done. You hear the way that Pete talked about him after the season was over. That they have like all this unfinished business and they feel like they're only getting started with Geno and all this stuff. He's a Seahawk. He's a Seahawk. So it's really only a matter of time. There's no limit on when they can do it, right? Like, they could re-sign him tomorrow if they wanted. Am I right in saying that?
That is correct. Yeah. Yeah. There's no
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah. So, we'll see. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he just wanted to go out and see what other teams, are showing his way, but
I mean,
I think
I think you have, even if you want to be team friendly, I think you have to,
just owe it to yourself to do that.
Well, there's obviously curiosity, but I think also even if you're going to take a slightly team friendlier deal,
Mhm.
let the market, get you a bit more money.
Yeah.
Don't, yeah.
Yeah.
You've
So,
earned more than that. If he wanted, he could
yeah.
really hold out. But by all accounts, what you've been saying as well, Ty, that's not going to happen here. It's a very unique
Yeah.
situation. That's what
And
people have
also,
reported.
it's not a great opportunity for him to hit the market right now, considering like Aaron Rodgers is available and Lamar Jackson might be available and Derek Carr is a free agent and Jimmy Garoppolo is out there. Like, there's other quarterbacks that teams are going to be focused on. So it's not like Geno's entering a market where he can take full advantage. And if other teams have, doubts about his, past season, and if that's actually real, who knows what kind of offers he's going to get. So I don't know. I think I think the Seahawks are going to pay him very handsomely, and he's yeah, they're going to value him properly and get him locked up for the next few years.
Yeah, it would be very shocking if that doesn't happen. But there's nothing really pointing towards that. It would be a complete shock, and
Yeah.
you'd be concerned. So there you go.
Yeah, and I would be, and I think in this situation, I just going off of how Geno's talking, I think really the only way, like, for talks to fall through is if the Seahawks significantly lowball him and just disrespect him, and I don't think they're going to do that. So, not really a discussion there. I don't think.
Yeah, and Ty, talking of Seahawks quarterbacks,
Mhm.
unfortunately our Denver Broncos Russell Wilson update
Mhm.
segment is no longer relevant because Seattle now doesn't rely on Denver for future draft assets and fifth overall. Thank you very much, and
Mhm.
all that entails.
Mhm.
However, one thing that did happen in the time we were off was Sean Payton.
Yep.
His comments. He's now the Denver Broncos head coach, but it was very funny comparing his comments around the Broncos offense and how they'll help Russell Wilson with the comments that Pete Carroll was attacked for,
Mm.
maligned for.
Yep.
People called for his job
Yep.
because he said stuff like this.
Yep. I mean, the game just passed him by. He's just a senile old man. He shouldn't be coaching
Yeah,
anymore.
people
Of course.
just flat out ageist about it as
Yeah.
well. It's
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
So Peyton, he said He said having quarterbacks coach and your own staff in the building is foreign to him, but he didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
He then the big quote he had was on Chris Sims' podcast. He said, "The two greatest allies for a quarterback are defense and the run game. We need to take him off the high dive for the whole time. He'll need to be there 6 to 8 times per game, though."
Yep. Yep.
That
I
sounds
mean,
familiar.
that sounds very familiar. Yeah. I wonder where he got that from. Hmm. Yeah, and
So it's
surprisingly,
cool to
no
see.
one calling for Sean Payton's head though. Interesting. Very
It's cool to
interesting.
see Pete Carroll's like approach kind of vindicated because like
Yeah.
as Griff and I like whenever we watch the tape, we always like, well, you know, you have to, if you can't do this, then you have to do something, which is running the ball. Like,
Yeah.
so anyway, and then there's all this the stuff which doesn't really apply to Seahawks about the Why Not You Foundation and all that weird stuff. But anyway, we don't
Oh
need to get
yeah.
into that.
Yeah. That's wow. Yeah, we could do a whole podcast on that. Do you see that Rex Ryan might be their defensive coordinator over there? Which is kind of
It's
relevant because
Geno full circle.
because Sean Desai was also aiming for that job, so or was in the mix for that job potentially. So they're
Yeah, we're
that's kind
waiting
of
out that
relevant.
Desai thing, but that
Yeah.
seems. I mean, we'll talk about it if it happens, but
Yeah.
it seems like Desai is trying to leave, and we could
Mhm.
you know think about why that might be. But
Yeah, he didn't he drop out of the Minnesota job, like the running for the Minnesota job, so he could focus on the
removed
Denver
himself
job.
from it. I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Where did Evero go? Did Evero go to Carolina?
Yes,
It's a pretty interesting staff that they're building over there.
it
Carolina.
is. Don't think Josh McCown knows who I am, but he was also working for Underdog Fantasy, and now he's their
Yeah, there you go.
quarterbacks coach. So,
Okay.
colleague,
There you go.
colleague, former colleague.
Friend of the show, Josh McCown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
There you go. Yeah, so yeah, so that's interesting. I wish that team was eligible to go on Hard Knocks because that's going to be very entertaining, I think, especially if Rex Ryan is involved.
Well, like he's not going to be soft on a quarterback, like
No.
as like Geno will attest to. It's fascinating.
Hasn't he also like spoken out about Russ like on ESPN in the past? Can't remember.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's interesting.
Anyway, not our problem.
Yeah.
So
Not our problem. No.
Ty, there's this big game which used to be the first Sunday of February, but then the NFL made the season extra long and the
Right.
playoffs long, and it's long.
Well, we like money, right? We like making money.
Yeah.
Right?
So now is it the second Sunday in February? Is that how it works?
Yes.
Anyway, it's cool. It's called the Super Bowl, and unfortunately, the Seahawks weren't in it, but we did have Kansas City, Philadelphia.
Yep.
What did you think of the game? I guess, are there any Seattle takeaways that you could take away a take?
Well, first of all, it was pretty triggering to see a Super Bowl played in that stadium. It was triggering to see that.
What happened in that stadium?
We don't need to talk about it. Don't worry about that. No,
I thought you'd like that stadium because of a tie.
Oh, well, because my name is Ty, right? I just like ties.
Right. Yeah, you just love everything Thai. Thai food,
Yeah.
ties, wearing a necktie.
Right. Tying my shoes. I'm an expert at it, of course.
Oh, I bet you are. Yeah.
Yeah. No, actually, contrary to popular belief, I do not like ties. But yeah.
We only got one Malcolm Butler reference, I think.
Yeah, I saw a commercial or something with Malcolm Butler in it. No. It was like a Kenny. It was like a Kenny. It was a Kenny main skit or something on ESPN or something like that. Yeah. No. Fortunately, I was able to avoid the Malcolm Butler stuff for the most part.
Nice. W.
But seeing the stadium hosting a Super Bowl, seeing that end zone, which by the way, this game was won in that end zone. The game-winning field goal did go through those uprights in that end zone. Yeah, that was not great for the old mental health. But yeah, aside from that, I thought it was a really entertaining game. Annoying that there wasn't much defense being played, especially from Philadelphia, because like, man, that pass rush is really nice, and like their secondary is pretty good, and I mean, obviously they didn't get to Mahomes, and Mahomes is just a maniac back there. And I mean the fact that dude, like, he twisted his ankle again, and it looked like he was done, and then just what he was able to do in the second half was wild. I've seen this take on Twitter during the Super Bowl, and then since that. I think this game kind of showed, like, the Eagles were the better overall team, but Mahomes he's the great equalizer, and so he just yeah. And then Eagles make a couple of mistakes. They have the really bad punt, um, and that sets up the Chiefs over at the 6, and it's pretty much that from there. So the thing that it sucks having the game end in the way that it did, and not necessarily having the game decided by a questionable penalty, but having the result solidified by a questionable penalty. That sucks. And again, the lack of defense for the most part was not super fun to watch from my point of view. But overall, pretty entertaining game. And I mean, Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes played one of the best quarterback matchups that I've seen in a Super Bowl in a long time, just going back and forth. That was pretty cool to watch. So yeah, what did you think?
The Eagles ran like 5 different calls on defense. Like, they did not do much,
Yeah,
and they yeah, they kind of got worked. They didn't really adjust.
and it's something to mention that they did hire Vic Fangio on a 2-week contract for the Super Bowl, which is weird, right? Because it's like
They did
Fangio's defenses. Yeah, he was an advisor. They hired him as an advisor for 2 weeks
for
before
this.
he
What?
before he took the Dolphins job. Did you not know that?
No.
Yeah, they hired Fangio as an advisor for, like, right after they won the NFC Championship. But
Oh,
it's weird too, because
they
like his
didn't do
defense,
anything else. Like,
yeah, because his defenses have also like been really bad against Mahomes in the past. They've like given up like 40 points multiple times. It's really weird. Like, I don't know what they were trying to glean from that. And like
well,
you
they
said,
run
like
the same Fangio system, but yeah.
yeah, but why? But like, why do you like just do what you're doing? Like, why do you need Vic Fangio?
Maybe
Like,
they thought that it wouldn't happen again. Like, Fangio would have all the answers to why he gave up so many points.
no idea. I have no idea.
My
It's weird.
my thing my thing was it showed the importance of balance, because
Mm,
the Chiefs, obviously, they're paying Mahomes so much money. They've had to this was supposed to be kind of a rebuilding year, but like also they've evolved and become more balanced. But their
yeah,
ability to run the ball with like diverse looks
yeah,
on a lot of too high structures, and do it in different ways, out of different formations, out
mm,
of 12 multiple tight end looks, was really big. And honestly, it's kind of what Seattle does and is trying to
mhm,
do. They just need a
yeah,
bit more talent. And even like the Eagles, Hurts, the dimension he gives the run game is just different. Like,
yeah.
it's just different. So,
Dude, he honestly changed my opinion on him quite a bit in that game. Like, some of the throws that he made were pretty ridiculous. Like that one to Goddard on the sideline, the one that
yeah,
they had
because
to review.
I was looking at that live and was like, oh, you can't, that's like a bad throw.
Uh-huh.
But then you watch it back, you're like, actually, it's like not as risky as it looks. It's just a really good throw,
Yeah, it's
like
just a
so
really good throw.
precise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
he was cracked in that game, honestly. Like, it was pretty cool to
and it's
watch.
like the fumble was a difference, but like
Yeah.
other than that, he was flawless basically. So
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty nuts to watch. I was surprised that the Eagles didn't find much success with their run game. I thought they were gonna have a better day on the ground
yeah,
than they ended up.
I'm excited to sort of watch why that happened, because
Yeah.
I thought
Well, and
I
they were
think
having success with it earlier on with like Gainwell specifically. And then
that's
I don't
right.
know,
Yeah.
they just got out of it.
Yeah. Well, there you go. But yeah, Seattle perspective, like I've seen people saying they need to upgrade the trenches more. I think
Uh-huh.
yes.
Yep.
Yes, but balance, they're sort of on the right track, I'd say, with how that game played out.
Hmm. Yeah.
And yeah, Philadelphia, like their defensive plan was so vanilla. And they didn't
It's
adjust
wild.
really. They didn't
It's wild.
adjust. Or
It's
they
wild.
did
Yeah.
with like man pressure, but like they didn't like really adjust to what the Chiefs were doing to them in a good way. So
Yeah. Yeah. They didn't adjust at all to the run game. And, Chiefs stuck with that, especially, with Mahomes ailing. And yeah, it was just, I don't know. It was weird. It was weird seeing that defense just kind of get bullied for most of the game, especially, you don't look at the Chiefs and think like ground and pound, essentially. But that's what they did. But yeah, I like that you mentioned that, kind of emphasize the importance of balance for an offense, even with arguably the greatest quarterback of all time at the helm. And I mean, he only ended up throwing for what, like 182.
well,
But
I don't even know what their receivers are like. I don't know what the it's like Marquez Valdez-Scantling,
yeah, their receiving
Kadarius
core is so
Toney,
weird. It's such a
Juju Smith-Schuster. Like it's not very good.
It's super mid. It's very, very mid. But Kelsey is just a
That is different. That is
he's
absolutely different.
he's a freak, dude. Like it's so weird. Like you and I were talking about it and how like, when you do videos on the Chiefs or like you look at tape on the Chiefs and how it's just like I don't know what to do with this because it's like they're not like they're playing football how most people think football is played. It's just kind of they're just out there vibing. Like Mahomes is just kind of out there vibing, and Kelsey is just out there vibing. Like the whole game, you hear like Greg Olsen talking about all the routes that like Kelsey runs, but it's like, dude, he's just kind of out there, just like doing whatever the hell he wants. Like,
Yeah, especially when there's like a announcer watching it back. He's like, "Oh, you see how he kind of he looks over his shoulder here, and then he's gonna break up here, and then it's like he's gonna do this here, and he's gonna go up, and he's gonna look back here." It's like, yeah, you can't really break this down. It's just like
yeah,
nuts. It's just nuts.
yeah,
Yeah,
no, yeah,
yeah. Take a look at this here. It's like, yeah, there's no words for that, man.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
it's just wild.
He,
It's just not fair. They're just breaking the game.
yeah.
And
Quick,
that was another thing. Like they didn't. I mean, yeah, just Andy Reid's like the way he just put Kelsey off the line of scrimmage, moved him around,
mhm.
put him inside. It's like just someone jam him, man.
Yeah,
Make him run through like four people. Do something. Just don't
yeah.
like it was just the lack of that doesn't
Don't let
have to
him get out
be
into space and vibe out. Like,
like
stop
that
it.
doesn't have to be your plan A necessarily, but like it
Yeah,
could be your plan C. You could have a plan B, but you
yeah.
like nah. So
Where's
anyway,
Akeem King when you need him?
right. That guy, Akeem King, if he team should have known. Hey, Trey Flowers, he did it last playoffs.
Yeah. And instead of calling Vic Fangio, Eagles should have called Akeem King. Come be the advisor for
That'd
2
have been
weeks.
fun. Yeah. And they just sat in like cover four, cover four, cover four, cover four. Oh, here comes a cover one. Uh cover four, cover
Cover
four.
4. Cover 4.
Occasionally they blitz, cover
Yep.
one. Or
Yep.
cover. They had one cover 3 fire zone which worked, but like it was 5 defense calls. I don't get it. And that includes the fronts as well.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then
And now
not even
Jonathan
adjusting
Gannon is the head
techniques.
coach.
And that video, yeah, that's news. NFC West news. The
NFC
Arizona
West news.
Cardinals head coach search is over. And to be fair to them, if Gannon was the guy, they did have to wait it out. That explains the delay. He has a lot of work to do to get ready for the draft, and it's a big, big draft for them because that direction of the franchise is very uncertain. But man, that video like I'm sure Jonathan Gannon is a good guy, and
Mhm.
the Eagles fans, by the way, were not fans of him. He was like every franchise has a coordinator who gets bashed around a bit because the
Right.
easiest finger to point, and their offense was so good, and the defense occasionally had patchy moments,
Mhm.
and it was basic throughout the year. I think like Gannon was the guy who people would point the finger at and be like, "What'd you do here?" But still, after so the Cardinals posted a video of him saying, "I'm your head
Hey,
coach. Let's
hey,
buckle
Bar
up.
Gang.
Let's buckle up."
Let's buckle up,
So,
baby.
but it
Yeah.
really did look like I think it's the lighting, the kind of staring at the camera
Mhm.
while reading,
It's like way
and
too HD. Like you can
it's
see
way
like
too HD.
you can
It's
see
like
like the follicles of his beard. Like,
it's like the AI software which I saw it recently. It's like I think it's NVIDIA for streamers and gaming, but
mhm,
it's like
mhm.
even if you're looking down, it trains it so your eyes look at the camera, like it adjusts your eyes to look at the camera all the time.
The
So you could be
fuck?
like playing, you could be playing your monitor onto the right, but your eyes would just be looking left at the camera each time. You like people wouldn't know.
Why would anyone want that?
Well, I guess people who are hacking like and use two monitor setups, they're running like a
Mm,
script. I don't know, man. It's weird. So they could read the chat but still look in the camera, I guess. Anyway,
mm.
it looked like that. It looked like that. There was something unnatural about it. I don't know if they put a filter on it or like the way it was just too HD,
It
like you
was
said.
weird. It was
The
weird.
frame rate. Someone who knows their film sect, get in touch. But
Yeah.
it was odd. It looked like an AI character and or an NPC in
Yep.
the
Yep.
video game. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Quick thoughts on Rihanna.
Oh my word. Outstanding.
Right.
So good. And I love
Really good.
how it was like I mean she has more great songs than that, but you sort of,
Yeah.
I don't go around listening to Rihanna every day. So
Mhm. Yeah.
but nothing but bangers.
Yeah.
And great choreography.
Mhm.
My girlfriend did her dance. She was like, "Oh, it's Paris Goebel doing the choreography. It'll be really good," and it was. It was good.
There you go.
And I actually thought the sound quality was excellent.
Mhm.
Now, apparently, it's better if you're there, but
Right.
sometimes stadium acoustics can really mess stuff up.
Yeah.
But I thought it sounded great as well.
Yeah.
I was a big fan.
Yeah. Huge fan. I loved all the s- the stages going up and down and all that stuff. That was cool.
I have a question as well. Ty, as an
Yeah.
American,
Uh.
crying in the anthem. Nick Sirianni, he was proper going for it. And you know what? I got texted 5 minutes before that happened saying, I bet £50 that Nick Sirianni will cry during the anthem. So someone knew that was going to happen. He's that kind of
Well,
guy.
well, they did earlier on in the show say like, oh yeah, he says that he was probably gonna cry during the anthem because of like
Oh,
realizing
so
he's in the super. Yeah, no, I don't. I also like it got misconstrued that like he was crying because he loves America. I think it was more just because like he's like, oh my god, I'm in the Super Bowl.
right, and the anthem is a big thing in the Super Bowl.
Right. Jason Kelsey was also crying. I think when they showed him
And they
like,
had all female Navy fly past, which is
oh
very
yeah, yeah,
cool.
yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that was dope. Um, yeah, me not a particular fan of the national anthem. I'll say that. But I thought that performance
You're gonna
was
get
actually
deplatformed.
not that bad. I thought that was pretty good. I thought that was a pretty cool little performance there.
Was that Chris Stapleton?
Yeah, I've never heard him before, but they were like, oh
What?
yeah, he's won all of these awards and all this
You've
stuff.
never heard of him?
No, I've never heard like any of his songs.
That
And
is
so like,
so un-American.
really? Am I like is
Yeah,
that like sacrilege?
yeah. I'm
Oh,
pretty sure he always plays college football stuff.
oh really?
Yeah, because he's like
I thought
country.
I thought the anthem was pretty cool though. The way he did it. I like his voice. Good voice. But yeah.
Cool. There you go. Anthem analysis.
But thank you,
Well,
Nick
let's.
Sirianni, for like the next new meme, you know?
Yeah,
Uh yeah, thank you. Thank
yeah.
you for
Cheers
that.
for that.
Yeah.
Cheers, Nick. Did anything else happen? Oh, the turf was bad, but this is not Seahawks,
Yeah.
so we could just go over that.
Yeah, turf was poo. But I don't care. But can't wait to see Geno and the boys in Vegas. About a year from now. Gonna be a
Oh,
lot
if
of
they
fun.
get to if they get, we're going
Oh
overload
yeah.
live at the MGM.
I'm gonna be
Like
scouting
the
it out next.
video.
I'm gonna be in Vegas next month, so I'll
You'll
scout it
just
all out.
scout it out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Get
Yeah,
ready.
put some
Yep.
feeders out, feelers.
Yep. I'm gonna take a picture of the stadium and be like, this is where Geno Smith is gonna win his first Super Bowl.
Yeah, you could just plant a note by one of the lockers, like,
Mhm.
good luck
Hey,
today, 7.
yeah.
I knew you'd make it, so I wrote this while I was at a Vegas event in February,
Mhm.
2023.
Mhm. Yep.
I'm your
Uh,
biggest fan.
did you see? Yeah, I bought your jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that an 8 Mile?
Do you mean like the Stan? No, that's not a
Yeah.
name. No.
Oh, that's a shame.
No.
We come full circle.
Yeah, I heard about your brother. I wrote his name on the starter cap.
Yeah,
Uh,
perfect. You
yeah.
could kind of mix that in.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'll be checking that out, and it's gonna be great. Can't wait for
Okay.
a Seahawks Super Bowl in Vegas.
Yeah, manifest. We
Manifest.
manifested MVG, no.
Who do we think is gonna do the halftime show next year? We've done Rihanna, we've
Well,
done Beyonce, we've done Kendrick and Snoop and Dre.
what
Like,
about, here's the thing, because they're really big in Great Britain, but I don't
okay,
know if they're this big in America. I don't think
Mhm.
they're big enough. But the Killers are from Las Vegas.
Oh,
Is that? I don't think that's big.
Empty,
Though.
you're a star. It's a great song. Love
Yeah, I
the
don't,
Killers.
right. I mean, like, yeah, I don't know if they're big enough.
I'd be down though. I'd be super down. I'd get pretty hyped for that.
There you go.
Or I mean, you are according to your Spotify Wrapped, you're obviously a big Drake fan. He was number 5
Oh,
on your Spotify Wrapped. So
that's what I could see it being. I think it'll just
yeah,
be
yeah.
Drake.
It'll be Drake. Drizzy. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and he'll bring out like some Star, which is like, that's what I
Nicki
liked about
Minaj
Rihanna.
and
There was
Lil
no,
Wayne.
I liked how Rihanna was just like, this is my songs, I'm
Yeah,
doing it
this is my
with
thing.
my
Yeah, yeah.
baby.
Yeah, none of
Yeah.
that Bruno Mars Red Hot Chili Peppers bullshit.
Hey, Bruno Mars, he played when the Seahawks won. So,
That's true. That's true. And Katy Perry played when they lost.
and
So
there's weird sharks. Like, what was that about?
who played the Super Bowl 40 halftime show? Hold on. Didn't Stevie Wonder do like the national anthem?
That would have been a really good anthem. Did he play the piano?
Yeah, but hold on. Is it Stevie Wonder? It was Rolling Stones did the halftime show.
Oh, that's pretty good.
And then
What happened to music?
who did the anthem? Oh, it was Aretha Franklin. Aretha Franklin did the anthem.
That kind of puts it in perspective. Like, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Is that a show?
So we'll be back tomorrow with a offensive review of the 2022 season. We're also going to have Will Anderson, Jalen Carter content, the quarterbacks content, more draft content, combine content, draft content, free agency content. We've got content.
Oh my God. Pete Carroll talked to CJ Stroud. What?
Per sources, John Schneider was seen looking in the vague direction of Anthony Richardson.
What? Whoa. Hendon
You're
Hooker?
an Anthony, not an Anthony.
Anthony?
I think
Anthony.
you're an Anthony.
Yeah,
That's wild.
I pronounce the H. Yeah, you just go Anthony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
And
it's Tony.
Tony, right? Yeah, Tony. Hey, Tony. Hey, Tony.
Tony.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we'll be there. Like the video, comment, subscribe.
Mm-hmm.
If you're listening, download the show, 5-star reviews. Oh, crap.
What?
Thank you so much to Lee Lariviere, who
Oh yeah.
has one of the best names on the channel. Is like a regular person who returns, regular listener, watcher, and very kind donation. Really, really appreciate that, Lee. That was far too kind, but thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much, Lee.
If you want to be an absolute legend like Lee Lariviere, you can donate via a Stripe link, which is in the description of this video, or you can super chat and get a question asked, or you could just like the bloody video. That's the thing to do.
Like it.
Thank you so much, Lee, because that was beyond kind. Thank you.
Yeah, they told me about that in our little group DM chat, and I was like, I just stared at the screen for like 5 minutes. I was like, "What? You're wild, man!" But thank you,
Yeah.
thank you, Lee. Yeah.
All right. See you guys. See you tomorrow. It's off-season time. It's been off-season time, but we're ready. Let's go. I won't have a cold tomorrow.
Let's fly.